Good evening, everyone. This is the January 20th, 2021 meeting of the Babylon Town Board. By way of information, my name is Rich Schaefer. I'm the town supervisor, and obviously you're watching us through a virtual platform on YouTube, on the town's YouTube channel. You'll see on the channel that there's a link that would get you to the agenda for today, as well as a link that would allow you to sign up if you wish to speak to the board on any one of the 5 public hearings that are scheduled for this evening, or if you're interested in addressing the board on any of the items listed on the agenda, or if you would like to speak to us during what's called the open portion, which is held after the action is taken on the agenda. You can sign up for that to address the board on any matters concerning town government or town services. If you're watching this video after the live presentation, which is January 20th, 2021 at 7 p.m., you can still click on the link and you can send in a comment that will be responded to by one of the elected officials or one of the staff members to any question or comment that you might have concerning town government or town services. So with that, I'd ask you to all please rise for a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd ask you to all please remain standing for a moment of silence, and I'd ask that you're keeping your thoughts and prayers. The brave servicemen and women serving our country, both here and abroad, as well as those in our town who are still working to handle the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as those who've lost their lives as a result of the pandemic or are recovering. And please especially keep all the first responders and the healthcare professionals in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you. Please be seated. Would the clerk, Jerry Compatello, please call the roll?
Councilman Mineta.
Here.
Councilman Martinez.
Here.
Councilman McSweeney.
Here.
Councilman Gregory.
Here.
Supervisor Schaefer.
And I am here as well. So all 5 members are present. So we'll go right into the public hearing scheduled for today. The first public hearing is a public hearing in reference to amending Chapter 2, Article 5, Section 2-10 of the Town of Babylon Uniform Code of Traffic Ordinances. We don't have anyone signed up for that public hearing, so I'll take a motion from Councilman Mineta, seconded by Councilman Martinez, to close and reserve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing is closed. Decision reserved. Second public hearing is a public hearing in reference to amending Chapter 3, Article 2, Section 3-4 of the Town of Babylon Uniform Code of Traffic Ordinances. I don't have anybody signed up for that as well. So I'll take a motion from Councilman Martinez, seconded by Councilman McSweeney, to close and reserve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing is closed. Decision reserved. Third public hearing is a public hearing in reference to amending Chapter 3, Article 2, Section 3-4 of the Town of Babylon Uniform Code of Traffic Ordinances. Don't have anyone signed up for that, so I'll take a motion from Councilman McSweeney, second by Councilman Gregory, to close and reserve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing is closed. Decision reserved. Fourth public hearing is a public hearing in reference to amending Chapter 165 of the Babylon Town Code, Peace and Good Order. I don't have anyone signed up for that hearing as well, so I'll take a motion from Councilman Gregory, second by Councilman Mineta, to close and reserve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing is closed. Decision reserved. Fifth public hearing is a public hearing in reference to amending Chapter 213 of the Babylon Town Code, Zoning. We have a number of speakers who've signed up, and we will go to the first speaker is John Volk. Just by way of information as the speakers are coming in, this is a proposed code regarding the properties along the Grand Canal in the American Venice community. This is just a proposal, so I want to emphasize that. It's been sent out for review by all of the property owners and the residents who live in the community. what we're doing tonight is holding a public hearing on it. So we expect that people will either have comments in favor or against, as well as possible suggestions for amendments to the code, and they may have questions. We're asking all the speakers to put their comments and their questions on the record. We're then going to have the staff review them and prepare a response that will both be emailed and mailed out to all of the property owners, as well as all the speakers, and will also be posted on our town's website. So with that, we'll go to the first speaker, as I said, is John Vogt. John?
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Just state your name and address for the record.
Sure. John Vogt, 264 West Lido Promenade, American Venice, Lindenhurst, New York. I am also representing the American Venice Civic Association.
Great, thanks, John. Go ahead.
We love some of the new provisions that were put forward or that were being talked about. We do have some concerns with this, and one of the top concerns are sheds on the property. And I'll get into that a little bit more. Currently, there's approximately 162 waterfront properties. Several of them are owned by one owner, compiled. There's 33 sheds over 4 foot high on these properties. About 20% of the properties have them. Some of the sheds are in disrepair, and our problem with that, if sheds were allowed, yeah, you saw the one in the Newsday article, and that doesn't look too bad. The ground doesn't look too bad. But that was the shed that has the air conditioner in it and people are living in it during the summer. All right, so the other sheds, if you come down here and take a look, some of them are overgrown, the doors are falling off, and then ultimately what happens, you get some people might take care of them, the rest of the people won't. And when I ask people when they come into the town and they drive down either East or West Riviera, they claim it's starting to look like shanty town through there. Driving around the rest of Babylon, there's a couple of sheds on East and West Concourse. Some of the other streets down there, like North Plaza and everything, they have waterfront properties. Maybe not as big, but they do not have sheds. They also limit to what I guess there's agreement between the neighbors what they can put on them. So that's really it's a sticking point that's been complained to. It came to actually our attention. We individually had our feelings about it, but we had a lot of people in the community that live on the canal and don't live on the canal that had complaints about the way it looks. And more so when we put the big push on as the Civic to try to clean up the area. Rich, we've been working hard with the owner of the marina, make that look good. We appreciate all the help. We have we're pushing at the west end down at the beach to create a living shoreline, and will help mitigate and flooding, but it'll also enhance the appearance of the area. So we're pushing on our end actually to enhance the appearance of everything. There are other issues, but again, the COVID knocked us out this past summer. We had hoped to have a beautification contest. We're going to ask Vasil to come down and be one of the judges, ask anybody with a house that wished to participate, to have their house judged, and then we'd come up with winners for unique landscaping, people that used native species in their landscaping, not just everybody with a lawn. The lawns don't do it. How can you make your property functional and more attractive at the same time? So then you look at the waterfront properties. There was a property, if you saw it on the online article, it looked like somebody emptied out all the contents of their garage, their backyard, and their neighbor's backyard and piled it on the waterfront. Unfortunately, there's more of them looking like that. Then I know we've spoken about this in the past. There was a lot of concern about those waterfront properties being sold to, lack of a better term, flatlanders, outsiders, people that don't live here. We have everything from Massapequa. I think there's one down in Florida someplace, a guy who lives that owns one. And, they either rent them out or they put stuff on those properties that they wouldn't be allowed to put on where they live. Like one guy stores a boat on. He says, well, because I can't store that where my neighbors complain. So then we said, well, we're becoming the dumping ground. Sure, come down to the Venice, buy a property and just move all your crap down here and you're welcome to it. So obviously that's a big concern of ours. The rest of it, the fences, there's a lot in that proposal that We are in agreement, the 4-foot fence is open because there are some 6-foot solid fences, which I don't understand the purpose of those. The boats, I know that's another one we talked about. We'd like to limit boat storage on the properties to the off season. And then if somebody had to keep it a longer period of time for repair, which is possible, then they would have to go to the town and get a special exemption. The reason I can point out right now 3 boats to you that have been here since I moved in 22 years ago. They have not moved. Even when Sandy came in, they didn't wash them off their bricks and flush them away. They were further up the canals.
Strong boats.
Excuse me?
I said strong boats.
Oh, yeah.
If Sandy didn't wash them out.
One guy I talked to, he's been working on it, I guess, since I moved. I've never seen him work on it, but there's always, it's coming. The other boat has no outdrive on it. They actually moved it next to the fence trying to hide it. And there's a few others too. And I know years past, there was some issues with boats on the property. The famous one was the houseboat down at the end. I'm sure everybody's familiar with that.
Yep.
There's been some derelict wooden boats on the canal that have sunk, and we got most of those removed, I believe. There's also the commercial boat, which I think your proposed code would stop the individual from being able to dock his commercial scallop boat on the canal, if I understand it correctly.
I don't know. Anything you're asking about, we're going to have the staff check.
Sure. Okay. I think that was in what the proposed code was on the commercial vehicles of the boats of that size.
Yeah, but if that's a concern, as long as you're putting the concerns on the record, we'll be able to address them.
Okay. Thank you. Then this goes on to something else I don't think was really in there. It's like the town's responsibility of the canal, and that's might be a conversation for a different time, because there's some different opinions on that. And it might be the Grand Canal is responsibility of the owners on it. Well, then what about the other dug canals, like around Indian Island or going out to Strong's Creek and everything, which they're starting to collapse into those channels. So that's a concern for those people. I know they talk to us. There's the issue of the 35 foot of frontage. You can keep 1 boat. I guess that means if you have 70 foot of frontage, you can keep 2 boats. Are concerned with that. Some of these properties, again, that are owned by some people who live here, but then again, a lot of people that don't, are starting to turn into mini marinas. They'll have 2 and 3 and 4 boats tied up there, and you're like, oh well, what's going on here? And they're renting spaces every summer. You go up and down the canal. There's those rent signs on everything. If they're allowed to do that, that's fine. We get back to the outsiders coming in. And this was a complaint even I had. You come down here on a Friday or Saturday night on some of these properties, they'll throw parties on it. So they're inviting all their friends and family, and that's fine. You'll have 8, 10, 15 cars parked in the area with these people on these properties having picnics and everything. And I don't think that's fair for the people that live across from them. And, it creates other issues up and down the East and West Riviera. I think that's it. And again, talking to my other cohorts in the Venice, some of the other proposed changes, I don't think we had a problem. If we did, possibly 1 or 2 of the others might bring it up, but that was some of the biggest issues that I think we had.
And John, if you want, mark up the proposal and send it in of what you like, what you don't like. That way we can have it on the record. You could just email it over.
Oh, definitely will do.
Great. Thanks, John.
All right.
Okay, our next speaker, Kev, is going to be Cindy Farley.
Okay, she's joining now.
Okay. Cindy, are you there?
I am here.
Hi, Cindy. Just state your name and address for the record.
Cynthia Farley, 68 Surf Road, Lindenhurst, and I'm part of the American Venice.
Great. Thanks, Cindy.
I don't need to speak because John just spoke.
Oh, great. Okay.
I'm on the board with John.
Okay, and you just want to support what John said.
100%. That's why I joined.
Great. Okay, thank you, Cindy.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, So the next speaker then will be Scott Lindeman. We have Scott Lindeman.
We do, he's muted.
Oh, Scott, unmute yourself. Scott, can we hear you?
There it is. I'm gonna pass,
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. So you support what John presented?
somewhat.
Okay, got it. Okay, so we'll pass.
Okay.
Got it. Okay, our next speaker will be Kathy Gullo.
Hello.
Hey, Kathy, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Just state your name and address for the record.
Yes, I'm Kathy Gullo, 290 West Riviera Drive. And I have a few of my neighbors here who could not get on their own Zoom. John and Kathy Frivola at
270 West Riviera Drive.
and Tony Saravillo. What's your address?
274 West Riviera Drive.
Great. Thank you, Kathy.
Okay, the main points that I would like to talk about is we've been doing this since 2018, Rich. I know you know that because I have paperwork that I printed out to you.
Actually, since 2012.
Oh, before Sandy, yes.
Yeah,
But
if you remember.
I do remember. But in March 2018, we came to you with a piece of paper like this. And this is it's kind of a map of our canal.
Yep.
With colors stuck to it. And what the colors represent is that the blue stickers, which there are 19 on one side and 30 on the other, totaling 49, are not owned by residents who live in the American Venice out of 162 spots. And out of those 49 people, or the 162 spots, I should say, 22 people have sheds on them. That was as of 2018. That we've been trying to say that the code that is on the books does not allow for these sheds to be on there. And I don't understand why the code has never been enforced when we've been asking simply to have your code enforced since way back when. So that's one thing I would like to bring up is the sheds. We are totally against the sheds. Anything that anybody needs to store on their property for boat use and maintenance of the grounds can be stored in a dock box or storage unit that is under 4 feet. They do not need a walk-in shed unless they're going to sleep in it on the weekends, as some of these people do. So in my opinion, anybody that says we need it for storage, of course you need storage, but you do not need a 10-foot shed. I don't have a 10-foot shed on my property, and I keep all my boating maintenance, my lawn maintenance stuff over there, my soaps and stuff for the boat, my life jackets, my cushions for my patio. So you can put plenty of stuff in less than a 4-foot box. My box is only like 2.5 feet tall. It can be locked, it can be secured. So there's no excuse why these sheds are still standing. And they are being placed mile a minute as we speak. Every other day, there's a new foundation coming in because someone says, let's move a shed in. They're not building them. They're bringing them prefabbed on a trailer. Boom, there's a shed. So that's one thing that has to come to an end quickly because they're just showing up mile a minute. And another thing I have to say about the rest of the code sounds pretty good. The fences and stuff like that. About the boats that have been there for 15, 20 years without movement. You said any boat can stay there as long as it's registered. By doing that, I feel that you are giving them a free pass because it's cheaper to register a derelict boat than it is to junk it. So if they keep registering it every 2 or 3 years or 4 years or however long registration is good for, it's cheaper to do that than it is to junk it. So why junk it? Let's just keep registering it. There's boats on our canal that have been on blocks that have trees growing out of them because that's how long they've been here. And it's just as bad as a shed. It blocks, it's not fair to your neighbor that you're blocking someone's view with a pile of crap. And that's about all I have to say.
Okay, great. We have Tony is signed up also. Tony, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I have a couple of things, Reg.
Sure.
In situation with the sheds and the boats, I totally agree. But my question in the area is why the town isn't enforcing direct code violations. The town has been notified there's a house on the corner of West Marine and West Riviera with the shed on the side of the house, almost in the front yard. The town was notified. Ron Klusner said a NOV was issued, and that was a year and a half ago. There's a boat on West Riviera across from, I think it's 140, where the anchor is hanging in town property, which is a hazard. And the town has been, I have emailed you on that, has to be at least 4 or 5 times. A NOV was also issued and nothing gets done. There's a car under a tarp that the town has been notified, it's still there. My question is, with this code, changing these codes, are they going to be enforced? We don't enforce them now, Rich, which
is wrong.
At all. And I'm just looking for an answer to why. If you have a code, why can't you enforce it? I built my house 12 years ago and I had to put 5 dry wells. They put them in water. And I went down to the town and I said, this makes 0 sense. That's the code. You want your CO, you have to do it. I had to have my garage at the same level as my floor. And I said, but what? That's the code. You want your CO, that's what you have to do. I'm just a little confused. Some people, you enforce the code. Other people, it isn't getting done, especially down here. There's trailers that have been there for years, not registered. There's debris. Can we get some kind of answer why that doesn't happen?
Sure. Is that it, Tone?
Yeah, and I agree with everything else
Great.
that John and Kathy have said.
Okay, great.
I have one thing to add, Rich. I just want people to treat the gore strips, that's what they're known as, gore strips, as your front yard. And that's the code. Your front yard, you cannot do this to your front yard. Well, this is someone's front yard that's being totally trashed and being allowed to happen. And we have plenty of addresses and pictures. I've sent pictures, I've sent addresses with the violation, and it goes unanswered. And if they do get a NOV, it never gets followed up, or they're collecting NOVs, maybe, I don't know. They're wallpapering their bathroom. I have no idea. But again, that's my part.
Great.
John?
Did the Frivolas want to speak?
Yeah, Rich, it's John.
Yes, Mr. Frivola.
Down by the bridge on the east side, there's a refrigerator and a soda machine. It's been there for like 2 years. And I know the town went over there and talked to the guy and he never moved them. They're there to this day. Also, across from my house, I'm at 270 West Riviera. Remember about 2 years ago, we had that houseboat that was sunk?
Yes.
All right, when that left on the east side, they brought in 2 floating docks that they got from Venice Marina. And about 3 weeks ago, one of them was breaking loose, and my boat stays in the water all winter. I thought it was gonna hit my boat, but the owner over there said, don't go on my property, or I'll have you arrested. So I couldn't go on there. I had somebody else go on there to tie up the floating dock. It's just sitting there.
They don't have a boat. It's just annoying us. That's all it is.
And I'm sorry, John, it's across from your home?
Yes, across the canal. I'm on 270 West Riviera.
And so that
So
would,
it's on the east side. I guess that would be like 271, 273, something like that over there.
on East Riviera.
It's your
Mhm.
side street.
Okay,
Uh,
And Saltaire.
Saltaire. It would be the side street is Saltaire.
and Saltaire, okay. Great. Okay, anything else?
That's it. Everything else, I agree with everybody's saying.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
Okay, our next speaker will be Joseph Calandrino. Do we have Joseph Calandrino, Kev?
Got me. Yeah, Rich, how are you?
Oh, hello.
Very well.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
All right. I'm probably one of the older Venice owners. I've been here since 1958.
Just state your address also for the record.
Sure. Joseph Calandrino, 70 East Kissimmee Road, Lindenhurst, New York.
Great, thank you.
All right. We've been here since 1958. My parents were some of the originals on the American Venice Civic Association. My mother was the treasurer, and she was also the attendant down at the East Venice Beach.
Okay,
I spent whole summers on the, I'm gonna give you a little history about my life here in the Venice, okay? I spent whole summers on the East Beach. Please forgive me, I'm sucking on a lozenge. I'm just trying to get past COVID.
okay,
All right. For as long as I can remember, there have been people enjoying their waterfront properties, relaxing, sunbathing, washing boats, driving by, and so on. This is why we bought there, or why my parents bought there at the time, as well as the boating access. In the early 60s, there was a bar called Cowan's Bar on the west side. A lot of you people probably don't even remember it.
Cowan's
Yeah.
Bar?
Remember Cowan's?
Charlie Cowan?
Remember the Cowan's Bar down on the west
Yeah.
side?
Yep.
It had burned down sometime in the 60s. Every year they would have a parade. It started at Cowan's, end up at the East Venice Beach. Everybody got dressed up. They'd have this parade. They'd do a judging at the end. They'd have a barbecue at the beach, and they would have a barbecue at Cowan's. I wouldn't trade those memories and those thoughts for anything in the world. Now the beaches have been sold off, and the key in the center of this of the waterway is falling apart. You know, I wish we could gain our beaches and bring back at least some of its former glory. I know the Civic Association is working very hard to do so. I have to admit, I'm a bit concerned that the East and West Beach was sold without any notification to anybody. So I was never offered ownership of East or West, or purchase, you know, the opportunity to purchase either. Maybe I would have, and maybe I wouldn't have. But however, it's gone into such a disrepair that now all the sand from the beaches is now washed into the waterway, almost making it non-navigable. So that definitely bothered me, knowing that it had been sold, and not only that, the people who had bought it have done nothing to maintain it or repair it. And I'd love to see the town step in, possibly get them back, and very simply, listen, I would have no problem paying an additional $50 or $100 a year in taxes and put it toward the Civic Association to maintain those two beaches and bring it back to its former glory. I love the fact that you guys and this guy that purchased the marina at the corner is doing what he did. Is doing what he did to the flying lions, the statues. The guy is obviously a stand-up guy, and he's really doing the right thing, and I'm very happy for that.
Mm-hmm.
However, I read through all your perspectives. I read town codes, and I only have two issues, actually 2.5 issues, let's call it that. Issue number one is the pervious surface. As long as vehicles are not permitted to park on waterfront properties, which they shouldn't be, because any leakage of oil, transmission, power steering fluid, etc., and puddling on the property. Therefore, you would need a pervious, surface, because any rainwater that's going to wash that down is going to wash it into the soil prior to leaching into the waterway. But the fact that no vehicles are permitted to park on there, so regardless of whether you have grass, gravel, pavers, or concrete, it shouldn't matter the amount of coverage you have for any of those things. It should be up to the person who owns the dock, who's paying their taxes for that dock, to decide what it is, as long as it's in good repair. Because right now, every single vehicle that's parked in the street that's leaking oil, transmission fluid, rear end fluid, anytime it rains, they go right into the sewer systems, right into the canal. I used to live on South Plaza. The DEC and the Army Corps of Engineers made them raise that property 4 feet, that street. They made all the sewers dump into septic tanks to prevent this from happening, prevent any oils and greases and even detergents from people washing their cars from leaching into the system. So right off the bat, I don't agree with that. As long as somebody is, again, I don't care if it's grass, I don't care if it's stone, I don't care if it's pavers, I don't care if it's concrete. As long as it's not in disrepair and it's neat, it has nothing to do with the environment. I've gone to court with the DEC when I lived on South Plaza, and I know what the rulings were. That's contention one. Number two is the fencing. I agree with all the fencings in the front of the property being no higher than 4 feet. I have no problem with that whatsoever, and not being solid. However, I do have a problem with the side fencing being solid. I have 6-foot side fencing on my property, and it's sitting there because although I don't care if someone's looking in the front of my property, when I'm there with my wife and we're sitting there, we're watching a sunset or boats go by, I'd like a little privacy. I'd like not to have people viewing me from every single angle. So again, I agree with the 4 foot in the front. I agree with it not being solid. However, I completely disagree with the sides. We should make it like we do have it at our homes right now, which is 4 feet in the front, solid fencing from the house back and across the back. Having said those both issues, the last thing, which I really wasn't going to bring up, but apparently it's been brought up, is this issue about sheds. I have no problem with sheds as long as they're not in disrepair. I don't like these monster sheds, with some of these guys are putting on, 10 by 20s. They're not even sheds. They're like condominiums. So, I got a problem with that. However, a small shed, be it whatever you guys decided to be, a 10 by 10. I put a plastic shed that I built on my own dock. It's not a big shed. It's a small shed. But I would never restrict somebody to say, okay, well, you need a 2-foot shed or you need a 3-foot shed. Everybody has different things that they put in there depending upon the boating you do. So I would never put my opinion, my restrictions on somebody else. Whatever you guys decide the shed size should be is fine, whatever it is. But to think about the restrictions you're putting on people when you say it can't be higher than this, it can only be this. Listen, when you say 100 foot, which is a 10 by 10, it's a big shed. That's a big shed. Do I agree with people living on the sheds? Of course not. Who would? But the truth of the matter is the sheds that I know, of the people that I know, they use it for storage to do things with their boats. Other than that, I really don't have any other issues.
Thank you.
I was going to bring up one issue, and I'm going to bring it up and drop it. And like I said, I've lived in the town of Babylon since 1958. I'm going to be 64 years old. And well, when I get my tax bill, it does say on my tax bill, I'm getting charged a school district tax and a library tax, which equates to 3/4, if not more, of my tax bill.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's on my tax bill, these specific items, when we know that the properties are non-buildable and you can't live on them, the only question I would have for you guys is, why is there a school district tax and a library tax on properties that are non-buildable, non-livable? Other than that, Rick, I can't be happier with what you guys have been doing between Tanner Park and what you guys have been pushing down at the American Venice. I thank you all. I think it's great. What that marina looked like was horrible. I thank the American Venice Civic Association for fighting for the corner piece of property, not to have more buildings put up. I mean, I really like what's going on, but again, I don't want to see anybody overstep their boundaries and force other people to do things to their liking. It should be everyone's liking.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you, Joe.
Very good. Thank you all for your time.
And good
Enjoy your
luck with
evening and stay healthy.
good luck with your recovery.
Thanks. I'm getting there. I got my taste back.
Okay. We're gonna have Michelle Insignia, next speaker. Kev, do we have Michelle?
Yep, she's joining now. There she is.
Okay. Hey, Michelle?
Hi, can you hear me now? Oh,
Yes.
hi guys.
Hey, Michelle. Good,
Hi
good
everybody.
Good
How
evening.
are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm
Could you-
okay. If the dog barks, please, it's not my fault.
We won't put the dog's comments on the record, so.
Oh, he's got plenty.
So just state your name and address for the record.
It's Michelle Insinger, 94 Venetian Prom, obviously Lindenhurst. I want to thank every single one of you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
I feel like I don't have very much to say because I've listened to everyone else has pretty much said everything, and I really, really do appreciate it. I want to thank Joseph, by the way, for everything he just said, because I truly agree with him and actually appreciate everything he said as well. And I'm in agreement with both John, Kathy, Tony, John, and Joseph too. I feel that the storage situation needs to be addressed that fits everybody, actually, that helps. But again, we've seen how abuse is happening, unfortunately, with the shed that gets lived in. So, you know, that's part of the problem, unfortunately, because there's not anybody really watching. Kathy did mention that in the last year or so, we've had a ton of more sheds popping up. Some of them are very, very, very large. And again, we have to be concerned because this is exactly what has happened more than one time. So that
Right.
is, and it's an iffy thing, and I get it. I really do.
Yep.
However, also, you know, we had the Newsday piece and it did show the one shed, and then it showed the mess. Honestly, that's where I come out in East Riviera myself. And that mess has grown in the last few years, and it wasn't always like that. And then the commercial fishing boat showed up, and my husband seems to feel they're even possibly doing business off of that lot. So again, this is another perfect example of how quickly things can go, you know, south, excuse the pun. So it does need to be addressed, and again, it's very difficult and how we do it, because to me, this seems to be the sticker point in the sheds. I agree with I agree with Joseph, actually, with the side fences, maybe, because I can truly understand, you know, the need for privacy, and I do kind of agree with that part. Again, I do have concerns because I have seen, again, I'm on the east and I'm also on the west side, you know, cars that are pulling up onto these lots, these floor strips, that pull up half on the curb, half off the curb. Just recently, and this sounds crazy, but we all know me and the water and the resiliency and my work in Sandy and all this stuff, and I'm a little nutty on that stuff. You know, we had a neighbor that was parking on the side of our house. I'm the drain keeper. I'm on the corner. I take that seriously. You know, and his car was leaking a ton of oil until we finally asked him either fix it or move it away from the drain, because as soon as it rains in the snow and it was leaving a lot of oil, it goes straight into the drain and it goes straight into Strunks Creek. And here I am working with the living shoreline and all this other stuff. So just using that as a simple example, that concerns me when these type of things are next to the water, because even if it's concrete and there's a good rain or a flood that should go over it, that's a problem.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
yeah, we would love to restore the beach, but we all know that's not workable. Because it would just take too much, and we've seen that. So the work on the living shoreline, to me, also solves a ton of other issues, besides, the flood resiliency issue and the resiliency itself, and then cleaning the bay. We're talking about oyster reefs and things like that, and habitat. I'm happy to announce that we now have Save the Great South Bay as partners in this. So we're ecstatic. And our partnership is truly growing, possibly now Pratt. So, I mean, this is a big deal.
Yep.
I'll be, we'll be touring Angelo's marina shortly. I got the invitation. I just trying to hook up with him. We are so grateful for the amount of work he has done. But to us, here you have this marina, and here we have this at the other end, and everything in the middle has to start to look better and be treated better. And I know it's a tough deal for everyone, and no one's going to be 100% happy, and that's perfectly fine, and I get that. But we have to do what's really best for the aesthetics of everything. The way we're trying to build the community back up after a long time of, being in disrepairs, what looks good and what's going to be best for everyone in the end. And fortunately, again, as the water girl here, that's my biggest concern as well. So I agree with everyone else, and hopefully we can come to some conclusions with this. And mostly, I really want to thank you guys for even doing this at all.
Great. Appreciate
And
it.
the dog, and the dog didn't bark, so
The
yeah.
dog was great. Awesome.
I know.
And thank you for all your help too, Michelle.
Yeah, it's fine. Thank you. We really couldn't do it out, you guys, and you guys are pretty awesome. So thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. All right, our next speaker is going to be Kenneth Russell. We have Kenneth.
Yep, here I am. Am I visible? Good.
There you go. How are you? Just state your name and address.
All right, I'm Ken Brussel from 50 East Kissimmee Road, Lindenhurst.
Great.
So I won't take up a whole bunch of time. I'll echo a lot of John's comments, and also I'll say that I agree with Mr. Calandrino about his comments that he's concerned about just the appearance. I'm not necessarily concerned about sheds being there. I'm just concerned about them being attractive and being well maintained.
Sure.
I do have concerns about vehicles that are parked on the dock front. That does get a little concerning to me from what everyone else was saying about like fluid leakage, and just from a risk standpoint, that if we do have another surprise Sandy, like that sounds like a really losing like a losing situation, that the car is going to get lost and then it could either end up in the canal or it's just flooded out and it's a total loss anyway. I share Kathy's concerns that the town doesn't seem to be enforcing the current code. So I'm not too sure if there's really much benefit in amending the code unless there's actually going to be actual enforcement to it. But that's pretty much all I got. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ken. Our next speaker is going to be Robert and Darlene Fantel. We have Robert.
Robert, you are unmuted. Or you are allowed to talk, you have to unmute yourself. Robert, if you're there, it's *6 to unmute yourself. There we go.
Robert? Robert?
He's unmuted.
Hello?
Hey, Robert.
All right. Sorry about that.
There you go. If you could just state, no worries, you could state your name and address for the record.
Sure. It's Robert and Darlene Fantel. We reside at 897 South Bay Street in Lindenhurst. Even though we're not a part of the Venice community. Our son and his family do reside there. So we go over there quite often. We have friends there as well. And I think the projects that are being, that are improving right now, the area are fantastic. My hat goes off to the town of Babylon and definitely the American Venice Civic Association. I think they're doing a fantastic job. I just wanted to say, when we drive in and, you know, we visit people, you see these beautiful homes, and then you'll see the gore strips everybody is referring to. And some people take care of them, some people don't. And it's a shame, because it's a neighborhood. It's supposed to have neighborhood integrity. You know, you buy into a neighborhood, you get that feeling of community, and not everybody has that. And it's a shame. It's the mindset, though, that difference. Someone purchasing a home compared to someone buying a storage parcel. And, you know, if you go and you have to write summonses to certain people for violations, granted, it happens. Everybody should know what they're able to do and what they're able not to do within a community, especially a neighborhood. That's our biggest gist about the whole thing tonight. We support the Civic Association, and I think both the Civic Association and the town of Babylon is doing fantastic. So I just want to leave off with that, and kudos.
Thank you very much, Robert. And I'm assuming Darlene joins in your comments, or she would like to say something.
May I just add to
Sure,
Robert's
Darlene.
comments?
Yep,
So,
go ahead, Darlene.
you know, Robert, I was born and raised here, so I've seen 50-something years. I shouldn't be saying that, but I don't, you know, I like to see the improvements. I know the American Venice Civic and many other people are putting a lot of effort into cleaning up the area. I don't like to see the degradation. We have grandchildren, so, you know, we're being community people, we don't see boundaries in between towns or so I want to see our grandchildren view the community the same way I got to view the community. It was beautiful. We had some degradation going on, but we see the reverse of it. Everybody talked about the marina, the Lions, the bridges look awesome. I know Venice is working towards improving Indian Island. So I just want to say that I think the improvements should be across the board and everybody should be held to those standards. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for all the hard work and the efforts that are being put into the community.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. And I know the Civic appreciates that as well. So our next speaker will be Lucille Diem.
I don't have a Lucille.
You don't? Okay. Then the next speaker is Teresa Flynn.
So we don't have Teresa Flynn either. I have a Frank Sotero.
Okay, good. We can go with Frank Sotero. I got him on the list. Yep. We have Frank. Hey, Frank.
Hello. Hey, Rich. How you doing?
Good evening. Hey, just state your address, name and address for the record.
Sure. Actually, just give me 1 second. I have a property at 9 West Granada Ave, and I have a property I have a house there, and then I have a property that's on the canal also.
On the canal. Yep, sure.
I don't have any sheds. I don't have any fences.
You're not living there?
It's a legal rental property. But
No, I mean, you're not living on.
No. I can understand how people would be upset about.
Frank and I know each other because Frank's a local attorney, and we've had a number of house closings together over the years.
So my concern was that I saw in the plan that they're going to have a requirement of 35 feet per boat, and some of the properties there are like 60 feet, 65 feet, and if you have a 17-foot small, bow rider or center console, that would mean you could only have one boat with 60 foot of bulkhead, which seems like it's a lot of wasted space. And we are paying a lot in taxes. At that point, it becomes cheaper just to get rid of the property and sell it to an investor or something like that, or get rid of it altogether and just rent space in the town,
But you
because
would
per
like
square foot,
to-
it's going to be cheaper.
But you'd like to see that change.
Yeah, I think that the requirement is rather harsh considering the size of the properties that are over there. These are not very big parcels. And a lot of people have, especially if you have kids, you're going to have, the boat that you're going to take your family out, and maybe your son has a small, 15 foot or 17 foot boat, or even a jet ski.
Mhm.
And I've seen the area improve a lot. I've spent a lot of money, cleaning up my house, the area, making it look good. They did all the sidewalks, and I've seen the area just improve so much. And a lot of that is due to the neighbors and the community and stuff, and the town as well. There is code enforcement for a reason. I think that a lot of the things that are contained in the new code can be addressed by just code enforcement. And I'm not opposed to having some regulations on that land, but it seems like some of the issues that are there would be taking. So a lot of the residential properties in the town of Babylon, you don't need a CO if you have a shed that's less than 100 square feet. I think that would be a proper regulation for any property in the town of Babylon. And if somebody wants to have something larger than 100 square feet, they have the option of going to the Board of Appeals and appealing to the town to show that there are similarly situated properties. Now, with that said, there are a lot of people that have lived across the street from these properties or on the canal for many years. They've built a lot of structures that probably wouldn't pass code, town code or anything like that. I don't know how you're going to handle those, if that's going to be grandfathered in, or how you're going to deal with those issues. But I think that any regulations that are going to be presented or put forth on these properties, that the people that actually live there or own those properties should have an opportunity to vote on what's going to actually be regulating those properties, because it's really those people that are going to be affected by those regulations. Those are the constituents, those are the taxpayers. And I understand that, the town has invested a lot of money in the community over there, and it looks beautiful. And just on a side note, I do have a question. I know when you're navigating that water, and I haven't lived there for 50 years like a lot of these people, but I note that just getting out of the canal is very dicey with all these structures that are underwater or just above the water, especially at night. And as far as what we're doing to clean up the area, is anything going to be done with regard to those structures that are in the, in the water, that are impeding, and are dangerous just trying to get to the bay? Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you, and we'll have that answer too. We did some temporary removal, and we have other plans for this construction year. So, but we'll put all that information out. Thanks, Frank. Okay, I have John Benedetto. Kev, you have him?
Add him now. Takes a minute.
Oh, okay, we have him. Okay, great. Mr. Benedetto?
How's that? Is that better?
There you go. We can hear you. John, just state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, my name is John Benedetto. I live at 55 East Riviera Drive.
Great, thank you. Okay.
So, like a lot of what everyone's saying, I agree with, and some parts disagree with. I live on East Riviera. I also have one of the pieces across the street. My house it was originally built and sold. It had 110 feet across the street. The original owner split it up and sold it. So I have one of the conditions of, the absentee owner who takes care of his property but's not there, doesn't live on the block to the left of me. And I have one of the smaller 25 pieces to the right of me, which I had the question about what would happen with these smaller pieces with the boat, the minimum distance for the boat requirement. As far as everybody who lives there and lives on the canals and, you know, all of our neighbors and everyone that we relate to, you know, we all kind of know each other and deal with each other. Especially we're all boaters, you know, everyone lends a helping hand. In the recent storm, some boats broke away. We helped other people tie them up, you know, and you don't really think nothing of it. Not that the people who don't live there don't have the same attitudes, but they're not on the block every day. They're not there every day. One of the biggest things that I find annoying about the situation with the people having the pieces across the street is when they come and where are they parking their cars, what are they doing with their stuff, whether it be trailers, you know, when they're bringing a boat or taking it, or going out fishing, or going out on the water for the day. And a lot of times their cars end up in front of our houses or in front of our pieces of property. So I don't really go along with the whole line of not being able to park the cars on the streets across the street. All of our boats bilge engine oil, gasoline, diesel, antifreeze into the canal all year long. Like one of the other residents was saying, all the streets have culverts that empty into the canals. So tire rubber, the salt from the de-ices, the cars driving by. I feel that if you don't own a house and have parking on the block, you should be allowed or should be encouraged to park during the boating season. Parking is getting harder and harder and harder, you know, in the houses as more kids get older, more people move in. And, you know, I live in Suffolk County. I don't want to live in Queens where I have to worry about people parking in front of my house. So I think if some considerations could be put into where the people who don't live in the Venice or don't live or own on East Riviera, those people should be like mandated or asked to have parking on their properties for when they're out on their boat. That would be my only concern and some point I'd like to bring up.
Great. Thank you very much, John. Okay, next speaker, do we have John Cusimano?
No. So all the people that are in as attendees for American Venice have spoken.
They
at this
have.
point. Sorry, we haven't have Anthony Saravio just joined.
No, he spoke earlier.
He spoke already? So yeah,
Yeah.
then that's it.
Okay, no Robert Prevera.
No Robert Pavera either, no.
Okay, great. So that's it for the speakers tonight. So I'll take a motion to by Councilman Mineta, second by Councilman Martinez, to close and reserve decision. All those in favor? Opposed? Hearing is closed, decision reserved. What that means now is, as I said at the outset, I'm going to have our stenographer, Jen Taus, and our clerk, Jerry Compitello, put together the transcript from the hearing. It will include all of the both comments, either in favor or against, the suggestions that were made, as well as the questions that were asked. And we'll have that information reviewed by staff, and we'll put a response together. We'll send that out to everybody, obviously everybody who spoke tonight, as well as to all the property owners. And then we'll continue the conversation on what we will do as a board over the next few weeks. So stay tuned. There'll be more action on this, but of course, everyone will be alerted for when action will be taken, and we'll continue to work together cooperatively on that. So that's it for the public hearings tonight. We're now going to go into the agenda, and we have a couple of speakers on the agenda. So we have a tabled agenda, Resolution 715-2020, which is designating the premises known as 2 Ithaca Street, Deer Park, New York, a public nuisance. And I know we have one speaker tonight, and that is...
Mr. Arvelo had attempted to join, but I believe he was having some technical difficulties and wasn't able to.
Okay, so he was on. I saw his name before, right?
Yeah. He was in and out, but at this point, he hasn't been on in a little while.
Okay, so what I'll state for the record is that we've had additional concerns brought forward, that question regarding whether or not the sale, the contract of sale is still active. We've been presented with information that the contract of sale is not going forward, and in fact, the property is once again listed for sale. So we need clarification on that. What I'll do is I'll ask Mr. Wilson and Mr. Guarino from the town attorney's office to work with his attorney to clarify and provide an update to the board. In the meantime, I'll request that we adopt this resolution and we hold it in abeyance through the town attorney's office to allow them to continue to negotiate and not enforce this if there is going to be an additional buyer. But I think that we have to have some sort of clarity to this issue. So I'll make a motion to approve this resolution, second by Councilman Martinez. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, resolution is adopted, and Mr. Wilson will handle this through his office with Mr. Guarino and the property owner's attorney. Now we'll go into today's agenda. And do we have speakers on today's agenda?
We have Patricia and Richard Hobson want to speak about the MR Reso.
Okay, so that's MR Builders Reso, which would be resolution number 74. So you want to bring them in, Kev?
Mhm.
Can you hear me?
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Very good. How are you?
I'm well, and thank you. And
Could you just state your name and address for the record?
I'm sorry, I'm Patricia Hobson at 31 Rainbow Lane in Amityville,
Great.
North Amityville.
Great. Thank you.
So let me start by saying thank you to you, Mr. Schaefer, and to the town board for the opportunity to speak. I'm sure you're aware there was a petition or application for rezoning our community from a single family residence to multi-residence families, and that application was withdrawn, and we appreciate that. However, inasmuch as I believe the initial response for us to speak was taken off of the agenda because of the application that was rescinded.
Well, it's going to be rescinded once we adopt the resolution.
Okay, so listen, I don't know all the political jargon and how things run.
Yeah,
but
you're
I do
speaking
think-
regarding resolution 74.
Right. But I do think inasmuch of the fact that the builder withdrew his application, it's important that the entire town board hear from us as residents. This is not the first time that a builder has purchased property in our community and made a request to change the zoning. I personally have lived in my home for 30 years. I take pride in my community. Mr. Schaefer, I'm sure you know our community. You know Rachel Lee Davis. This is the community where she has lived. But that being said and understood, I don't seem to understand how it is that when we've come to the board and to the town years after years about various builders that want to rezone our area, it continues to be something that is allowed to happen. And I get it that people can apply and they can request whatever they want. But at some point, I think it needs to be very clear to persons that are buying and then coming to the town. They let the town board know what they're looking to do. They let the planning board know what they want to do. Somehow you have to let these builders know this is not something that the community wants. We do not want our community changed, the zoning. We take pride in our homes, our property, our community, the livelihood of our value for our dollar. So again, I thank you for acknowledging, I believe her name was Rachel, had the meeting last week. She listened to us. Somehow the information, I guess, got back to the builder. He rescinded. Fine. We don't want him or anyone else to come back with anything other than a plan for single family homes, luxury homes, similar, if not better than what we already have here. The Oaks across the street from us, beautiful. Flattery Estates, there's a number of places here. We take pride in this. Let them go somewhere else and do multi-residence housing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And just so you know, for the record, we have told anyone who's come in on that property to model it after Jefferson Estates and, like you mentioned, Flattery Estates and the Oaks, because we understand, and I've known this for 35 years when I worked for Pat Halpin, and we did the grievance clinics, which I know you participated in over the years, that it's a single family home area, and that's what people want. We tell them, and of course, we tell them, and they learn the hard way after they go in and spend money and draw plans, and we tell them, you're wasting your time. You're not going to get the support. Oh, no, I believe I can get the support. Okay, knock yourself out. So we're glad that you and your neighbors once again spoke up, and that the builder heard what you wanted, which is single family homes. And we'll continue to tell anyone who comes in just that you want single family homes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I believe.
Is your
husband
there?
He is. Just we're in different locations so that the Wi-Fi, you don't hear the echoing.
Sure.
I can add him if he's on a different computer. That'd be easier.
No, it's easier for him to come right here. It's okay.
Okay.
This is Richard Hobson.
This is Richard. It'll take him 15 seconds for us to switch seats.
Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you.
Hey, good evening, Richard.
Good evening, Supervisor Schaefer. How are you?
Very good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Members of the town board, there's not too much I can say after listening to what Patricia said, my wife.
Is that usually your response?
No, it's not. And I think you know that's not the case.
That I know. Yes, sir.
Yes, but I'm glad that things seem to be to the point where the word is getting out to the community, to the developers. My question is, during this time that a developer would come before with any type of environmental study, traffic study, how is it amended now during the COVID? Is there a formula for the lack of school buses, lack of traffic, or anything like that? That's just my question.
Yes, and the traffic engineers that are doing the work are doing just that because of the lack of traffic during the COVID pandemic.
Okay, all right, very well. And once again, continued health to everybody, and thank you.
Stay safe. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you. Okay. Kev, do we have any others on the agenda?
No.
All good?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Hello?
Yes.
There should be others.
Is anybody else in the waiting room, Kev?
We didn't have anybody else join.
That's strange.
Anybody else? The only person who signed up was Howard Jagan of 10 Brown Avenue in Amityville, and Rosemary Deering, who we know, 145 45th Street, Copeg, and Allison Roberts, 141 Cheatham Lane in Amityville.
Yeah.
Correct. Dion Jagan?
Howard Jagan.
Okay.
Dion is here. Yes, I'm sorry. Dion Jagan, she's on here also. Is she in the waiting room, Kev?
She is. She had requested to go at the end, but I'll bring her in now. She's the last speaker anyway. Yeah, I'll bring her in now.
Yeah, she had requested to go after the after the agenda. But yeah, you can bring her in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Hi, do we have Dion? We have Dion Jagan.
Currently muted.
She's muted. Yeah, I see that now. Dion, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can. Good evening.
Good evening.
Could you just state your name and address for the record?
Sure. My name is Dion Jagan. I reside at 10 Brown Avenue in Amityville.
Great. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. I just want to begin my commentary just by extending a sincere thank you to the town and to the board. As residents, we definitely feel that our voices were heard. I just want to share that we found out that the developers rescinded their application on Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday.
Oh, very nice.
Yes. Needless to say that we were thrilled about the decision, and that, we kind of, formulated a bond and organization as such against these, what we have labeled predatory developers. And just us coming together, organizing, having a petition, we kind of, remarked at our ability to get what we wanted at the end. And, and us sharing on today, Inauguration Day, also punctuated this celebration that we're having within our community. So we just wanted to extend that thank you for you. Nevertheless, we do understand that the developers rescinded their application without prejudice. So we are under the complete understanding that in the future, other developers or maybe MR Properties themselves may come back and apply to rezone the community. So we just wanted to advocate for our resolute position that we want North Amityville, the Oaks, Jefferson Estates, and neighboring communities to remain a single family resident. It's important to us. This is a great financial investment, as you can imagine. We're watching our children grow up, their children, grandchildren, and it's just a beautiful community that we take a lot of pride in. And, we joke about it sometimes, but we understand that there's a curious pride that lives within homeowners. And we want to continue that belief within our community, and we will continue to advocate for that position. So our only request at this time is that the town really understand that what we're saying, and use every opportunity to communicate that to us, whether it be signage, in newspapers, whatever mode of communication that you feel that will reach all of us, so we can continue to share our position with future developers. Again, also, we want to thank you in closing, just recognizing, and telling them, and I was so glad to hear you say that, Mr. Schaefer, that you did tell them, go ahead and try.
I know how active a community at Jefferson Estates I've known for 35 years. I know a lot of the homeowners who are still there. I'm dating myself now, but I know how active a community they are, and I've said this time and time again. And I like to be upfront with people when they come in and say, "Oh, we'd like to do X," and I say, "No, it's not going to fly there." I know, I have a good sense of what the community wants, as do the other town board members. So you're right on target, Dion.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and have a good evening. And
You
again,
too.
happy Inauguration Day. Thank you.
Happy Inauguration Day. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So Kev, do we have anyone else on the agenda?
No, that's it.
Nobody else signed in. Okay, great. So we'll go into the agenda, and today's agenda, we've got Resolution 40.
I'll offer Resolution 40.
Sorry, I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution's approved. Resolution 41.
Offer Resolution 41.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Resolution's approved. Resolution 42.
I'll offer 42.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution's approved. Resolution 43.
I'll offer Resolution 43.
Second.
All All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution's approved. Resolution 44.
I'll offer resolution 44.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution's approved. Resolution 45.
I'll offer resolution 45.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution's approved. Resolution 46.
I'll offer 46.
I'll second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution's approved. Resolution 47.
I'll offer resolution 47.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution's approved. Resolution 48.
I'll offer resolution 48.
Second.
Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Mineta,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilman McSweeney,
Yes.
Councilman Gregory,
Yes.
Supervisor Schaefer.
Yes, resolution's approved. 5 votes in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 49.
I'll offer resolution 49.
Second.
Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Mineta,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilman McSweeney,
Yes.
Councilman Gregory,
Yes.
Supervisor Schaefer.
Yes, resolution's approved. 5 votes in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 50.
I'll offer resolution 50.
Second.
Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Mineta,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilman McSweeney,
Yes.
Councilman Gregory,
Yes.
Supervisor Schaefer.
Yes, resolution's approved. 5 votes in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 51.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Mineta,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilman McSweeney,
Yes.
Councilman Gregory,
Yes.
Supervisor Schaefer.
Yes, resolution's approved. 5 votes in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 52.
I offer resolution 52. I second.
Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Mineta,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilman McSweeney,
Yes.
Councilman Gregory,
Yes.
Supervisor Schaefer.
Yes, resolution's approved. 5 votes in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 53.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Mineta,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilman McSweeney,
Yes.
Councilman Gregory,
Yes.
Supervisor Schaefer.
Yes, resolution's approved. 5 votes in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 54.
I move resolution 54. I second.
Clerk call the roll.
Councilman Mineta,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilman McSweeney,
Yes.
Councilman Gregory,
Yes.
Supervisor Schaefer.
Yes, resolution's approved. 5 votes in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 55.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Mineta,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilman McSweeney,
Yes.
Councilman Gregory,
Yes.
Supervisor Schaefer.
Yes, resolution's approved. 5 votes in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 56.
I move resolution 56. I second.
Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Mineta,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilman McSweeney,
Yes.
Councilman Gregory,
Yes.
Supervisor Schaefer.
Yes, resolution's approved. 5 votes in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 57.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Mineta,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilman McSweeney,
Yes.
Councilman Gregory,
Yes.
Supervisor Schaefer.
Yes, resolution's approved. 5 votes in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 58.
I offer resolution 58. I second.
Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Mineta,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilman McSweeney,
Yes.
Councilman Gregory,
Yes.
Supervisor Schaefer.
Yes, resolution's approved. 5 votes in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 59.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Mineta,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilman McSweeney,
Yes.
Councilman Gregory,
Yes.
Supervisor Schaefer.
Yes, resolution's approved. 5 votes in favor, 0 opposed. And I know the town board joins me in thanking Deputy Supervisor Martinez for a great job on the capital budget once again. We really appreciate you being able to juggle all the needs as best as possible.
Thank you, Supervisor. I wouldn't be able to do without our staff, and especially Ms. Victoria Marata and Ms. Catherine Works, our controllers.
Doing
Thank
very
you.
well. Thank you. All right, resolution 60.
I offer resolution 60. I second.
Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Mineta,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilman McSweeney,
Yes.
Councilman Gregory,
Abstain.
Supervisor Schaefer.
Yes, resolution is approved, 4 votes in favor, 1 abstention. Resolution 61.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved. Resolution 62.
I offer resolution 62.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved. Resolution 63.
Offer resolution 63.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved. Resolution 64.
I'll offer resolution 64.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved. Resolution 65.
Offer resolution 65.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved. Resolution 66.
I'll offer 66.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved. Resolution 67.
Offer resolution 67.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved. Resolution 68.
I'll offer resolution 68.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved. Resolution 69.
Offer resolution 69.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved. Resolution 70.
I'll offer 70.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved. Resolution 71.
Offer resolution 71.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved. Resolution 72.
I'll move 72.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved. Resolution 73.
Offer resolution 73.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved. Resolution 74.
Make
I
a
offer
motion to
resolution
approve.
74.
I'll second.
Do we need a roll call on this, Joe? Joe?
He's muted.
Oh. Do we need a roll call, Joe?
Is this on,
MR Builders?
no, we don't need a roll call on that.
Okay. All those in favor? Motion by Councilman Martinez, second by Councilman Mineta. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution's approved. Resolution 75.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution's approved. Resolution 76.
I move resolution 76.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution's approved. And Resolution 77.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution's approved. That's it for the resolutions. Kev, do we have anybody waiting for the open portion?
No, we do not.
We do not. Okay, so I'll take a motion to adjourn from Councilman Gregory, second by Councilman McSweeney. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting